last episode of finding out my designs are shit. Basically, we'll see in this video how I have had some major issues, setbacks, but also what I learned. By the end of the video, you'll see how it works and how I could have improved it, things I learned, so on. I kind of ramble on in the video, so I've just muted it. It was very, very disorganized, and I actually spent about 2 or 3 hours going over it and taking notes because it was quite honestly just that much of a big problem. Some of the things I found are just how difficult it is to actually put on. It was kind of an emotional roller coaster, honestly, to do this. So one thought I had was having this not as a tube sleeve, but rather using some sort of straps to put it on, and also switching out the bobby pins for other things like screws and things like snaps or other similar things. So a lot of technical findings and also just the experience of putting it on and off. So yeah, I needed a lot of self-talk in this, and it helped a lot. I got through getting this whole thing on, taking it off again. As you'll see, I kind of thought things were gonna go easier at first, probably, even though I immediately recognized how difficult this would be. My thoughts were kind of everywhere. I actually, during the video editing process, also was taking notes because, quite honestly, this whole process was just a nightmare, and I didn't bother writing anything down. But thankfully, since I was taking a long recording of this, I was able to write down my thoughts after the fact, which is really important, I think, typically. That is also partially why this was so very disorganized. I kind of just started doing this immediately after the fact, without a specific plan in mind. And that shows, but it's okay. I think that this kind of process is good to learn as well. Kind of winging it a little bit, showing how my thinking can come into being in a way. And yeah, I mean, I had a lot of different thoughts during this, so here are just some of them that came up again, as you can see. Some thoughts on how I can fix this. So, I mean, obviously this is really annoying. So these were just some of the crazy thoughts I had while going through this process. Leather straps, origami, safety pins getting replaced with probably some sort of screws, bolts, mothers, nuts and washers, those kind of things. It's pretty fun, but basically currently what it's built of is some bobby pins that I soldered onto the wires, some PCB that is used to attach to the Arduino, and some resistors and velostat and so forth. It's really nothing special. It is quite literally just some voltage dividers with some piezo-resistive materials, which is velostat. I also realized this is a total mess of a video, and I kind of just thought, you know what, I'm gonna have a little bit of fun with it. I don't really care. Let's see what people think regardless. I spent so much time on this to begin with, so I'd rather not spend too much time with it. Anyway, in just a little introduction who I am. I'm Jan Sören, or Janse. I'm from Germany and I'm living in Sweden studying interaction design. I was a former electronics technician back in Germany, so that's kind of where I get my electronics background and what I also am using as an advantage for doing my interaction design studies, which is, it's kind of basically useful in all kinds of areas, from banking, applications, for your phone, websites, tangibles, wearables, embodiment. It's not about the whole user experience, it's more about little moments, and so that's kind of how it works. you're thinking about, like, is this smooth or is this fast? Is it going in steps? Is it going dynamically? Is it immediate? Do you feel tension? Those kinds of things. It's a lot less about the other things. Anyway, I also did some singing for you guys because that's me. Then we have the magic here. I've got the magic in me. Na 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 na. Got the magic in me. So now that I've given you a little rendition, please give a follow, share, like, whatever. Subscribe, please. Tell me what you think. I really would appreciate all the help I can get to make these videos better. And also just ask me any questions. I think it's important to explain what's going on here. I obviously could have done a better job of that. And I just think it's good to give you a deep rundown of things if it's needed. Some of the crazy things I've been doing, like making my own homemade resistors because I didn't have any at first, like going out shopping for things or ordering items, so forth. This whole project is costing me a lot of money. Like, it really shouldn't cost this much. If I'd done it differently, maybe it would be cheaper, but on the other hand, I think it's a good investment of my time and money, so I'll keep trying to do better about that. And maybe I can design some PCBs in the future and be a bit cheaper that way instead of ordering a really high-tech microcontroller like a Teensy 4.1 or having an Arduino, so forth. I mean, I obviously have put a lot of money into this, as I have said. It was probably somewhere on the order of $300 or something. I don't know. I'll have to do a breakdown. You gotta ask me to do that. Like, for instance, I didn't have a soldering iron before this project. I didn't have the other tools. I had a few things lying around, but for the most part, it was like nothing. And after talking about this project to people and so forth, I've gotten a lot of interest, but I've also had people even mentioning maybe they can give me some of their old tools and so forth, which is really cool. And also just getting lots of advice, which is awesome. Most importantly, at this point, I need to get this thing working so I can do user tests, whether that's on my own or with others, but that is the biggest thing of all. And it's kind of crazy how this whole thing ended up, though, because at the end, you end up seeing how I'm able to get this whole thing to work. Just a little bit. So here I am trying to set it up for you, show you what's going on, and then I am just noticing how this sleeve actually works now that I'm wearing it and trying it out. It's really a weird experience finally getting to use something, even if it's not fully functional, but just trying to get to use something in a way that is not expected, right? So it was actually quite crinkly, which is an interesting thing to think about. Like, maybe that's something I want actually for some use cases, so forth. But I also realized that that's not the case for most things. I started to wonder how that could be useful in other situations, but I'm still going to continue to focus on trying to use this for some sort of performers stuff and have been really thinking about how it could be used by breakdancers or other things like martial arts and so forth, where pressure is highly involved. Interesting to note, I also talked to some musicians and artists. This whole project kind of started with being introduced to interactive sound pieces and art pieces, performative art basically, at a place called Inkunst here in Malmö.